Global markets are moving on trade optimism. Oil is finding its footing, and Japan's stock market just smashed another record. But will CPI ruin the party? Today's US CPI report is the big one. Expected to come in at 0.2% month on month and 3% year on year. A hotter reading could reignite dollar strength and pressure risk assets, while a softer print could fuel rate cut bets and weaken the greenback. But I'll be covering this live at 2:15 South African Standard Time this afternoon, providing you real-time insights, instant chart analysis, and answering your question as the numbers hit. You don't want to miss this at all, so grab your coffee, open your charts, and come and join me. By the way, my name is Francois. I'm the market analyst here at ATFX Africa, and in today's market brief, I'll be breaking down USD JPY, WTI crude oil, and the Nikkei 225 with a sharper focus on what today's CPI could mean for all of these setups. So without further ado, let's get into it. The yen has now slipped for a third consecutive session, trading past 148 per dollar. The extension of the US-China trade truce for another 90 days has reduced demand for safe haven assets like the yen, while the Bank of Japan remains divided on the timing and the place of any further rate cuts. Some policymakers still favor keeping policy accommodative for now, especially with Japan's Q2 GDP, producer prices, and Tankan survey results all on the horizon this week. However, US dollar strength is capped by dovish Federal Reserve expectations after weak US jobs data increased the odds of a rate cut in September. Traders are now looking towards today's US CPI data, which could either reinforce or challenge those expectations. USD JPY is holding above that 148 support area after breaking through 147.7, with a constructive bias pointing towards the 148.8 zone and potentially the 150 hurdle. A drop back below 147.7 could see the pair test 146.7, where both the 200 period moving average and the 50-day Fibonacci retracement aligns.
Why is fast trade execution a must? Because you're more likely to get the entry price you want and the exit price you want. Reliable, rapid, responsive. Join ATFX today and let's get you started.
WTI is trading just below the $64 a barrel level, extending modest gains after the tariff truce between the US and China eased fears of a demand slowdown. The upcoming US-Russia meeting in Alaska on Friday will be closely watched for any developments on the Ukraine conflict, though expectations for a breakout remains low. Meanwhile, China's recent PPI drop signals ongoing demand concerns, potentially limiting upside momentum. Traders will be eyeing the US API stockpile data, also due later today, followed by the OPEC's monthly report and the EIA forecast for further supply and demand cues. WTI's recovery above the $63 mark is encouraging for bulls, with $64 and then $65.8 acting as the next resistance levels. On the downside, $62.20 remains a key support zone to watch. A break below this could reopen the path towards $61 a barrel. Japan's Nikkei 225 has surged over 2% to fresh all-time highs above 42,800, powered by tech stocks and renewed trade optimism. The weaker yen is also providing a tailwind for exporters. SoftBank led the charge with a near 7% rally after news of major investments and acquisitions, while chip makers like Advantest and Lasertech posted strong gains. However, the rally comes despite signs of foreign investor outflows for the first time in 16 weeks, a potential sign that buying momentum could be slowing if domestic demand doesn't step in and fill in the gap. The index is in a strong bullish territory with immediate resistance at 43,000 and a potential push to 43,200 is possible if momentum holds. First support lies near 42,100 and that is followed by 41,400. Tomorrow's focus will shift sharply to the Japanese GDP figures and fresh US inflation data that we can then unpack in tomorrow's session. Both could shape up these markets and set the tone for the rest of the week. And with that, traders, we wrap up your daily market brief, brought to you by ATFX Africa, the broker that gives you an edge in today's markets. Head over to ATFX Africa and experience the difference for yourself. Traders, until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and trade smart.